Parents, when was the moment you saw your child's spirit break? It was the day my daughter didn't want to go to school anymore. She used to bounce out of bed at 6 a.m., lay out her outfits the night before, and ask 100 questions during our morning drive about everything from why clouds move to what we'd have for dinner. But that Tuesday morning, she just stared at her shoes and whispered, "Can I stay home today, Mom?" I asked her why, expecting the usual complaints about math tests or forgotten homework. Instead, she told me that Madison, the most popular girl in 3rd grade, had started a club during recess. To join, you had to pass certain tests. You couldn't have a weird laugh. You couldn't bring gross lunches. You couldn't have any marks on your skin. And you definitely couldn't be the kind of kid who still got excited about finding cool rocks on the playground. My daughter failed every single test. Madison said my birthmark looks like a dirty stain, she whispered, touching the small strawberry mark on her left cheek that I'd always told her looked like a tiny heart. She said it's probably contagious, and that's why I don't have any real friends. She's 8 years old, and her favorite thing in the world used to be packing that lunch with me every morning, carefully arranging her sandwich, fruit, and the little notes I'd write on her napkins. The other girls just watched, she continued, her voice getting smaller. Lily used to play with me, but now she pretends she doesn't see me when Madison's around. They all sit together at lunch and whisper about people who aren't allowed in their group. At pickup that afternoon, I waited by the usual spot where she'd normally come running, backpack bouncing, ready to tell me about her day. Instead, I watched her walk out slowly, shoulders hunched, avoiding eye contact with the cluster of girls near the playground. She climbed into the car without a word and stared out the window for the entire ride home. That night, I found her in the bathroom at night, long after bedtime, standing on her step stool and scrubbing her face with a washcloth. The skin around her birthmark was red and irritated. "What are you doing, sweetheart?" I asked, though my heart already knew. "I'm trying to make it go away," she said matter-of-factly, like it was the most logical thing in the world. "I looked it up on your computer. Some websites said you can fade them with lemon juice and scrubbing. If it goes away, maybe Madison will let me sit with them at lunch." I couldn't speak. I just turned off the water, took the washcloth from her hands, and held her while she cried. She felt so small in my arms, like she was trying to disappear entirely. The next morning, I packed her favorite lunch anyway: turkey and cheese cut into heart shapes, apple slices with caramel dip, and her favorite chocolate chip cookies. I added a note like always: "Being different is your superpower. Love, Mom." She read it and smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes anymore. But I wasn't going to let this slide. I emailed her teacher, Mrs. Johnson, requesting an immediate meeting. When we sat down that afternoon, I explained everything: the club, the exclusion, the systematic bullying disguised as social hierarchy. Mrs. Johnson's face grew serious as I described finding my daughter trying to scrub off her birthmark. "I don't want an apology," I told her firmly. "I want action. I want this behavior addressed directly, and I want it stopped." Mrs. Johnson implemented a new classroom policy the next day: no exclusive groups during recess, assigned lunch seating that rotated weekly, a zero-tolerance policy for comments about physical appearance. I also volunteered to speak to the class about differences and uniqueness, showing them photos of successful people with birthmarks and explaining how boring the world would be if everyone looked the same. Madison's attitude shifted when she realized the entire class was watching her behavior, and the other girls started including my daughter again, when kindness became the new cool. She stopped shining for them, but I'll never stop shining for her.